The world is steadily becoming more robotized, and Tesla has been actively involved in showcasing and developing the Tesla Bot, their innovative first-generation robot, for quite a considerable period of time now. Focused on this, and robotized doesn't merely imply that robots might exist. Behind me, you can see the second version of the Tesla Bot, but it's also about how this technology integrates into our world, especially into the cars. And with that, a very warm welcome from the Mall of Berlin located in Berlin at the Tesla store. Here we have the exciting opportunity to demonstrate the next impressive level of robotization to you, namely with the Tesla Cybercap. There are quite a few advantages, but also several disadvantages that we definitely want to discuss with you. I can certainly imagine it could be quite intriguing and appealing for you to eventually robotize your Tesla Model 3, your Tesla Model Y, and possibly even some other Tesla models in the future. And robotizing, of course, also means that while you're not utilizing the car, other users have the ability to use it to travel from A to B. And that would certainly be an exciting story to potentially earn a bit of extra money with your Tesla in the future. For commercial users who are looking to offer it or occasionally use it themselves, the Tesla Cybercap is quite an excellent choice and fits their specific needs very well. And before we get started and show you the Tesla Cybercap, could you please check if you're part of the Eintracht Electric community? If not, we would be happy if you would support it with your subscription. And here we go with the Tesla Cybercab. And as always, we start from the outside, starting from the front. Let's take a closer look at the front section of the Tesla Cybercab. The first thing that might catch our attention is the continuous LED light strip, which elegantly and seamlessly incorporates very slim LED headlights within it, spanning both the driver and passenger sides in a visually striking and appealing way. A completely flat vehicle body design that gracefully curves upwards into the familiar and distinctive aerodynamic teardrop silhouette. It seems he doesn't have a frunk, but with a cab, like with a taxi, I think you don't really need a frunk later on. Yeah, these LED lights are supposed to also have a beam function integrated, where you can then project certain things onto the street or also onto a wall. That's sort of a spaced out tail.
Indeed, certainly.
And when you see him like this in the full view, he kind of reminds me a bit of the VW XL1.
Maybe a little homage to this device.
We've introduced the VW XL1 to you in a video before. Feel free to check it out in the playlist. That was, so to speak, the 1-liter plug-in hybrid model from Volkswagen, where Volkswagen wanted to somewhat outdo Toyota at the time, proving that something like this is technically possible. Tesla is going 100 light years ahead of the competition, because this Cybercap is reportedly supposed to have a consumption rate of 9 kilometers per kilowatt hour.
It's very nice indeed.
So it's, in a manner of speaking, thoroughly detailed in the press kit. We've made the effort to convert it for you, so you'd arrive at 11.1 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which is indeed really super efficient. And where Tesla is also remarkably visionary when it comes to creating efficient vehicles. Considering consumption, it's no surprise that they certainly focused on achieving very good aerodynamics with the Cybercab. Included on board is full autonomous driving, for one through the camera here in the fender, which we also know from series models, from the Model 3, the Model Y, the Model S, and the Model X. Similarly, there's a camera system at the B pillar, transitioning into the C pillar on this particular vehicle, which includes an additional camera system looking forward. I think that's quite a far-out story.
That sounds well put together, yeah.
By the way, the full safe driving feature is functioning pretty well in America these days. Sadly, we haven't had the chance to test it out yet. However, there's speculation that it might make its way to Europe in the next 2 years or so. And then you even have the opportunity to, of course, take advantage of these cap functions in the Model 3, the Model Y, and potentially in other Tesla derivatives as well, which would obviously be practical because when your car is parked, you could have it work for you. That means this robotaxi concept will likely first be tested and implemented in the Model 3 and Model Y before the production of this Cybercap starts in series at the end of 2026 or in the year 2027. Yeah, from the coupe-like line here towards the rear, we can deduce that there probably isn't a second row of seats. A rogue who thinks ill, and whether this will ever go into production, that's kind of... I like to call it the hubcap of the future because it doesn't simply cover the entire rim itself. Instead, it goes all the way up and over the tire, which really sets it apart and gives it a futuristic edge. It's kind of like a super spacey design, right?
Pretty different indeed.
And I would guess that we'll be taking another look at it shortly because he's likely to have an impressive and really nice big trunk. The rear could truly be a nod or homage to the Tesla Cybertruck, because if you visualize or picture the Cybertruck in your mind, then this continuous LED strip, which lights up beautifully and distinctly in red, could, perhaps it even slightly echoes the rear design of the Cybertruck, particularly with its pronounced angularity and distinctive features. Kinda reminiscent of that what we don't have, which we know from the Polestar 4. A rear window? Why would we need one at all if there's no need to look back thanks to full autonomous driving?
Yeah, not at all.
Absolutely not at all. And this way, in principle, you can dedicate yourself to the essential things with the Tesla Cybercap. Just imagine the tailgate opening electrically, since unfortunately we aren't able to show you that, as this prototype has buttons that we're obviously not allowed to display for you. That's why the tailgate is in a sense almost already open, and that's how the vehicle would essentially arrive to you when you choose a driving task via the app. This feature allows you to open the trunk, the rear luggage compartment, through the app quite conveniently. Yes, indeed, a nice big tailgate, just as we know from a hatchback, a sleek back design really. We have storage volume here in the center, with both the left and right sides featuring covered wheel arches. All of this is done in a very high-quality manner with great attention to detail. The carpet is meticulously installed for added durability and comfort, and the rear wall to the passenger cell is elegantly detailed and carefully crafted to ensure high quality. Tesla doesn't provide volume specs, and unfortunately, we're not allowed to measure it. We can only estimate, but I'd guess it could be about 400 to 500 liters.
Definitely, yes.
I believe you can probably fit at least 2 carry-on suitcases in there, as well as 2 large travel bags. You might even be able to fit them if you tilt them and stand them upright, potentially even a couple of elongated larger suitcases could indeed fit in there. There's definitely plenty of space, I believe, to comfortably accommodate and transport luggage for 2 people appropriately and easily. I think that's all the space you need, as you'd mainly use the Cybercab for short trips. For example, going from your home in somewhere like Berlin to the airport or a train station, its design efficiently bridges those shorter distances, offering comfort and convenience without needing extra space, ensuring a pleasant journey every time. And that's the ingenious concept that Tesla has, which envisions these Cybercabs to be in constant and perpetual movement. They're basically never stuck in a single fixed location, unlike what we experience with car-sharing vehicles that tend to block up parking spaces by standing around in the way somewhere. You all know the well-known car-share cars, and sometimes it feels like as you drive through Berlin, there seem to be more car-sharing cars than cars owned by residents. And of course, Tesla and the Cybercab definitely want to avoid that. Instead, it should be aligned with demand. And that's what Tesla is known for. I believe they also develop good software so that this car is always in some form of motion, and then naturally also many driving jobs generated for the owner accordingly. Abracadabra, by the way, the trunk is closed again.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
Now let's think about how this door might open. Some of you may have seen videos from others. Does it open like a classic door? Or do you think, has Tesla come up with some really hot new innovation once again?
Oh, something special is bound to happen now.
Yes. When the Cybercap arrives and you plan to get inside, it magically opens the passenger door for you, unfolding in a scissor-like manner, just like the doors on certain high-end sports cars, as we are familiar with from various models, are familiar with from expensive derivatives of the house. I believe Lamborghini produces similar door models and so on and on. For the MG Cyberstar, we also captured those scissor doors on film, just for you. I know some of you might be wondering now, how can I possibly fit this Cybercap into my typical garage space?
Fit?
Why let a Cybercap sit idly in your garage when it could instead be out on the road, actively driving and earning some money for you? So, and since it's a car that can drive fully autonomously, even if you were to place it in the garage, you would basically assign your garage to the vehicle, and then you would obviously drive into the garage fully autonomously, right?
Right.
It kind of sounds logical, doesn't it? Makes you wonder sometimes, why do people spend their time worrying about things they really don't need in the first place? And in Salabim, it's all electric again. Yes.
It's really insane, isn't it?
What Tesla is accomplishing nowadays, absolutely amazing, isn't it? And also with the Cybercap, let's stay chronological and start with the door panel. Even though it's a prototype, we actually have that typical Tesla look, sort of.
Sure, totally.
It's somehow crafted with a sense of quality, featuring a nice soft plastic material. Additionally, it's adorned with a silver-colored surface to create a bit of a color contrast, providing an elegant visual break. Such a dark gray silver is kind of chic. Yeah.
Definitely does.
Speculation surrounds whether the material will remain as is or undergo changes because with a prototype like this, there's naturally a desire to create a bit of polarization. What we definitely lack here, as you can clearly see on the roof, unlike other Teslas, it's typically considered standard. A magnificent glass roof where you could virtually see the starry sky. I really find it somewhat of a pity, don't you agree?
Yeah, actually. Especially when you're being chauffeured. It's good.
However, there will certainly be good reasons for this too. They likely intend to start off at a price point that's as affordable as possible for everyone. Under $30,000, a glass roof still costs money. So from that perspective, I could imagine that they might have considered, even from a cost standpoint, whether to go with a steel roof or an aluminum roof or maybe a carbon roof or a glass roof. You have a roof and it stays a roof.
Sure.
Sure, let's take a closer look inside here. We actually have a pair of wonderful seats, once again finished in this stunning silver gray metallic style. That certainly won't be the final material in the end, but rather just an initial sample for illustration purposes. It looks a bit like an armchair.
Yes, definitely very comfortable.
So, we'll sneak in there right away and check if we can perhaps have a particularly nice power nap, just like we often enjoy during a regular charging break. And what also immediately catches the eye is this huge, thick, and impressively large monitor. I've really settled in here and I could honestly take a power nap. They're sitting so nice and soft, nice and smooth, nice and comfortable here with the center armrest. That's just really, really fantastic and awesome. I think the monitor here could probably be about 21 inches in dimensions, where you can access all the entertainment functions whenever you're being fully autonomously driven. So you can use it accordingly. What we also have is an interior surveillance through a camera. That's really quite a fascinating story. And we also have here, in the way you utilize good material mixes, a very nice fabric cover. Then you also have it for the headliner above. I'm sitting here incredibly comfy.
Exactly, that looks really good.
The center armrest can be folded up as well, because there will additionally be a robot that will fully autonomously vacuum and clean the car. We only have a pair of cup holders here, alongside 2 button switches for the electric windows. That signifies it's also quite a wonderful story. The dashboard itself slightly reminds me personally of the Model Y, I would say.
Yes, already.
But with a bit of ambient light in there, down here is also a nice thick plush carpet. There's actually nothing to nitpick or find fault with when it comes to the material mix, leaving no room for any complaints. Of course, the material in the way it is processed here now is not open-pored. That means there will be at least seat heating available. Whether it will include additional luxury features such as a seat massage or even seat ventilation once it progresses into full production, the future will undoubtedly reveal all those possibilities. Surely you'll be asking yourself the same question as I am. What kind of drive does it have? Is it all-wheel, rear-wheel, or front-wheel with 100, 200, or 300 kilobals? What we definitely know, it truly shouldn't matter to us.
Yeah.
Because we're being driven around, we're not going to do drag races at the lights, and we're not looking to speed down the highway at 200 kilometers per hour. What we actually want is to be transported from point A to point B, maybe over short or medium distances. And it will surely possess, like all the other Tesla vehicles, a corresponding amount of power. Bring along, because there's no Tesla that's as slow as a duck, right?
No, not quite.
Exactly. What we also don't know is how big will the battery pack be. We can just speculate for now. $30,000 is roughly around half the total price of what a Model Y long range costs. Kind of estimating. He might end up with half of the total battery capacity. That would give us around plus or minus up to approximately 40 kilowatt hours capacity on the 11.1 comma. When calculated down, it should ideally have a city driving range stretching from 300 to 350 kilometers. What neither you nor we have been able to locate anywhere is an actual place for connecting a charging port. And it's quite likely that the Cybercap might not have any form of charging port in the end. Tesla discusses the possibility of charging a Cybercap inductively using wireless technology in the future. A few years ago, Tesla apparently also acquired a startup company and essentially leveraged the technology it had, further refining and developing it. Back then, they talked about up to 25 kilowatts at peak, then in the charging performance. Whether that's still the case or not, as I said, it's all purely speculative. Let's just assume that you essentially have an inductive charging pad system in place, located somewhere in the garage or at specific designated locations. There might even be a special supercharger specifically for Cybercaps, where they can recharge their systems conveniently. I firmly believe Tesla will, much like they do with conventional vehicles, be carefully pondering how we can all gain the most from using the Cybercap in the most efficient manner and as effectively as possible. And with that said, let's shift to the conclusion of Tesla's Cybercap. I genuinely believe Tesla is once again miles ahead because they're thoroughly contemplating what the taxi of the future could potentially look like. What do you need? It has been found that 82% of taxis are occupied by a maximum of only 2 people. And that's how the idea came about to not build 4 seats, but 2. However, anyone who wants a taxi with 4 seats can probably in the future rely on the existing Tesla derivatives. Tesla Model 3, Tesla Model Y. If you essentially have full self-driving on them, there will probably be a possibility in the future to integrate advanced Robotaxi Cybercap functionalities into these vehicles. So that if you own this particular vehicle, you might potentially have the option in the future, even if you aren't using it yourself, to let other people use the car for a fee. I think it's super cool. It's supposed to be really easy and through an app, just like Tesla vehicles today are easy to control via an app. And that this is feasible is shown by Uber and Bolt and other service providers who have revolutionized the taxi market here as well, but not fully autonomously with a driver on board. And here everything is essentially fully autonomous and possible without a driver. Yes, I'd genuinely be thrilled if you could take a moment to check whether you are already on board. Not with the Tesla Cybercab, but with einfach elektrisch. We'd love your support with your By subscribing, you really support us, and don't hesitate to ring the bell so you won't miss out on this and other interesting videos about electromobility in the future. And with that said, we're actually, if you will, at the end of our discussion, right, Stefan?
Yes, for sure.
Incredible concept, fantastic idea. I'm really excited for the moment it actually becomes real. Let's not specify any time, we'll simply call it 2 weeks, and with that, a warm. Thank you for watching this video. Feel free to share your opinion in the comments. Let's exchange thoughts on the Tesla Cybercap, and then hopefully we'll see each other in one of the next videos. Be well and see you soon. Ollie, you Stefan. I'm genuinely thrilled.
I like the shape, yes.
But do you see anything strange?
So what do you think then?
Tesla has once again managed to somehow integrate the tech into the bodywork, the exterior stones. No shark castle.
It's known from Tesla.
Yeah, it's cool, right?
How nice.